The difference between your handspring finishing like this compared to it finishing like this is often in how your arms and shoulders interact with the floor. Ideally, when you do your handspring, your arms are by your ears from the start of the hurdle, and they don't leave that spot until you finish your handspring. Most importantly, you want your shoulders here and rigid when they hit the floor, because that will allow the floor to push you back out into the handspring. If you do this right, you can make the floor work for you, similarly to how a trampoline works to push you up into the air. On a trampoline, if you stay tight, you will sink into the trampoline and it will push you back out. If you go loose, for example bending your knees like this, or letting your hips go loose like this, you will lose your bounce because the push from the tramp is not transferring through your whole body. The same thing happens when you try and do a handstand pop on the tramp. If you just keep your shoulders by your ears and stay tight, the tramp will push you back out. If you bend your arms or let your shoulders close, you'll often lose the bounce or the push from the tramp and you won't get any height. The same principle applies on the floor, it's just much faster and requires a little bit more effort from your shoulders to not collapse. One of the biggest things that will cause you to lose power in your handspring is putting your hands down on the floor like this. So you can see the shoulder angle closes a lot here, and instead of pushing through my shoulders end up traveling forward over the top of my hand, and I lose the power that I would get from the floor. The same thing happens if you bend your arms in the handspring, you lose all the push that the floor would give you, and you have to try and physically push yourself back out, which is much, much harder. One of the best ways to practice this is just a simple handstand pop. What you want to make sure you're doing here though is keeping your shoulders rigid and letting the floor pop you. What I see a lot of times is people trying to take their hands off the floor like this, so they almost like smack the floor with their hands and take their hands off. And that's not teaching you how you can get push from the floor. It just looks like you're doing the pop. If you try and do this in a handspring, you're going to get no power. Instead, focus on keeping your shoulders rigid and by your ears and letting the floor pop you back out of that handstand. If you can do this in your handspring, you will notice a huge difference in your tumbling.